As Chief Faculty Marshal, I now declare this inauguration officially open. Please remain standing for the national anthem led by Pamela McDermott, Director of Choral Activities, and remain standing for the posting of the colors by the ROTC Color Guard and for a moment of reflection led by Longwood staff member Isaiah Hurt.
Request permission to post the color.
You may post the colors.
Ready? Hey! Forward. Hop! Present. Hop! Order. Hop! Left. Hey! Forward. Hop!
We gather here today to witness the installation of Longwood 25th President, Patrick Finnegan. Let us listen to the words that have been said by generations of West Point cadets. Encourage us in our endeavors to live above the common level of life. Make us to choose the harder right instead of the easy wrong. And never be content with the half-truth when the whole truth can be won. Grant us new ties in friendship and new opportunities to serve. Kindle our heart in fellowship with those of cheerful encounter, and soften our heart with sympathy for those who suffer and sorrow. May these words help President Finnegan as he fulfilled his role as the president. And may these words also inspire all of us to fulfill our role as citizens and leaders.
Please be seated. That was beautiful. That was adorable. It's my honor to welcome you to the inauguration of Longwood's 25th president, Patrick Finnegan. I'm John Adams, and like so many of you, I'm a lover of Longwood and someone who has spent many wonderful days in the service of this great university. The legacy of leadership at the university is made palpable today by the attendance of two former presidents of Longwood, Dr. Patricia Cormier and Dr. William Dorrell. May I ask that they stand and that you join me in expressing our immeasurable gratitude to both of them. I would also like to recognize the members of Longwood's governing body, the Board of Visitors, seated here on the stage. Ms. Marjorie Conley, Rector, Ms. Jane Brooke, the Honorable John W. Daniel, Dr. Edward Gordon, Mr. Thomas Johnson, Dr. Rip LaRoche, Dr. Judy Lynch, Mrs. Jane Maddox, Mr. Stephen Mobley, Mrs. Marianne Radcliffe, Mrs. Susan Sosa, and Mr. Ronald White. Join me in showing them our appreciation for countless hours of service. Please recognize also Mrs. Laura Fornash, the Secretary of Education of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Right here. Let me also welcome with gratitude the presidents and delegates from 39 of our sister colleges and universities from across Virginia and beyond who have traveled some distances to join us in this singular celebration. Their names are in your program. Welcome to all of you. It's great to have you here. The inauguration of a university president is a curious thing. There is an ancient academic tradition that guides it, a tradition called taking a long time to get around to it. President Finnegan has been on the job for 1 year and 4 months, and only today are we inaugurating him. Now, one might ask why this tradition exists. If one does, one will be dismayed to find that nobody has any idea. I have searched. I called the American Council on Education, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, the State Council for Higher Education in Virginia, the Chronicle of Education. Google threw up its eager little algorithmic hands in exhaustion. Maybe it's the academic equivalent of living together before getting married. Or maybe it just takes that long to get the robes ironed. Whatever the reason, we benefit from that tradition because it makes our proceedings today as much an affirmation as an installation. We don't know Patrick Finnegan as thoroughly as we will, but we know him well. And because we do, we celebrate today with a joy even deeper than the joy that we felt 1.5 years ago. We have many reasons for our confidence in President Finnegan. One of them is Mrs. Finnegan. In our culture these days, the qualities of style and substance are often presented as a dichotomy. Both reside comfortably in Joan Finnegan. She is full of grace and void of pretense. I somehow can't believe that it's an accident that she carries the name of Longwood's spiritual patron. We revere the stone likenesses of St. Joan here on campus. This Joan is alive and lively. So I'm thrilled to announce today that at future ceremonial occasions, she will be fitted with armor and will arrive on horseback. The president, of course, will wear traditional academic robes and will ride behind her on the horse. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the incomparable Joan Finnegan. As this day is an affirmation of Patrick Finnegan, so it is an affirmation of the future of this university as he leads us in charting the next great period in our amazing journey. If it were humanly possible to listen closely enough for long enough, I believe we would hear in the far distance the ovations of the generations who have gone before us. Well done. Well done. Friends, you and I are very, very lucky to be here together at this remarkable place at this remarkable time. I'm now pleased to present again Ms. Laura Fornash, Secretary of Education of the Commonwealth of Virginia, who brings greetings from the Commonwealth. Secretary Fornash was appointed to her current position by Governor Bob McDonnell on August 23rd of this year and provides guidance to the 16 Virginia public universities, the Virginia Community College System, 5 higher education and research centers, the Department of Education, and the state-supported museums. Prior to this appointment, she served as Deputy Secretary of Education and as the Executive Director of the Governor's Commission on Higher Education Reform, Innovation, and Investment. Please help me welcome Secretary Laura Fornash.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to be with you today for the formal installation of Brigadier General Patrick Finnegan as the 25th President of Longwood University. I bring you greetings today from Governor Bob McDonnell. Over the past year and a half, the Governor and I have been privileged to get to know and collaborate with President Finnegan. With his expansive background in the military and higher education, he brings a unique perspective to this comprehensive university dedicated to the development of citizen leaders making a positive impact on society. President Finnegan chose to focus on scholarship, service, and standards as the theme for his inauguration. I believe this is a great motto for a university like Longwood. I applaud President Finnegan for his commitment to the scholarship and high standards as part of the Longwood University experience, both inside and outside the classroom. I know he will continue to build an environment where students, faculty, and staff can thrive, where knowledge meets curiosity, where innovation meets application, and where talent meets opportunity. President Finnegan is a champion for the students, and I hear he regularly engages in student activities and traditions. I heard he regularly participates in Color Wars and the greatest athletics march ever, also known as GAME. It takes a strong leader to fill this role, and President Finnegan is the perfect candidate. His previous positions as Dean of the Academic Board at the United States Military Academy at West Point and his service to his country in several different capacities have prepared him to lead Longwood University into the 21st century. As you know, increasing access to higher education has been a hallmark of the McDonnell administration. It is simple but true. To get a good job, you need a good education. Governor McDonnell and I are committed to putting in place those policies that make Virginia one of the most educated states in the nation. We want to make the Commonwealth a job magnet in the years ahead, and that starts with ensuring that we have a well-educated workforce. Every Virginian deserves the opportunity to access higher education and to pursue their dreams. Just this past summer, Governor McDonnell signed the Top Jobs legislation that puts the Commonwealth on a path to awarding 100,000 more degrees over the next 15 years. It makes reform-based investments in higher education and creates more financial aid opportunities for low and middle-income families. Additionally, it focuses on preparing our students for the high-demand, high-income fields of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and healthcare. Longwood University is rising to the challenge through increased financial aid, greater enrollment in the STEM disciplines, and identifying students that have some college credit and encouraging them to complete their degrees. This aggressive push to help us expand access to higher education will ensure that we fully utilize the tremendous resources available through our colleges and universities here in the Commonwealth. We must invest in our institutions to help them grow, to develop cutting-edge resources, and maintain excellence. These investments are investments in our future, investments in the young people who will lead our nation through the next century. I look forward to continuing to work with President Finnegan and his staff. Today is a day to celebrate this new chapter in the long history of this very special university. I am thrilled to be with you here today on behalf of Governor McDonnell to play a small part in honoring the next leader of Longwood University. Congratulations, President Finnegan.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We will now hear greetings to the President from Mr. Stephen Myers, the class of 1983 and President of Longwood University's Alumni Board, Dr. Larissa Ferguson, Chair of the Faculty Senate, Ms. Kiri Marianino, Chair of the Staff Advisory Committee, and Mr. Brandon Fry, class of 2012 and President of the Student Government Association. Steve?
Thank you, John. Good afternoon. And what a beautiful afternoon it is here in pretty Farmville. What a great befitting stage for today's ceremonies. President Finnegan, excuse me, as president of the Alumni Association, I join over 30,000 alumni in welcoming you as the 25th president of Longwood University. Today's a special day for you and for the university. Students are here for maybe 4 or 5 years during their undergraduate years. Faculty, staff, and administration, they sort of come and go during their career progression and development. But alumni are different. Alumni are here and we have a very special bond to this university and to this place. To alumni, Longwood is our alma mater. It's our nurturing mother. Longwood also are the one component of the Longwood community that provide permanence, provide continuity to the university, which begins during our undergraduate years and develops and progresses throughout our entire life. President Finnegan, you and I have worked together for the past year, and I can tell you that he is extremely dedicated and committed to alumni and alumni relations. He places high value on that. Probably has something to do with his years at the West Point. I appreciate that. So I want to recognize both you and Joan for your commitment, for your dedication, and for your loyalty to what the Alumni Association does, to our purpose, to our mission, and to our initiatives. Thank you. As we get ready to go through the rest of the ceremonies, I want the alumni, there's quite a few here. I thank you for your being here today. Quite a few class members from, I think the earliest class of 1938. That's phenomenal. Thank you very much for being here. You take a very important role in helping to maintain the proud traditions, the proud history of this university. And we look forward to working with President Finnegan in the years to come to help achieve the vision of the university, to help develop citizen leaders for the Commonwealth. Thank you.
General Douglas MacArthur famously stated, "Old soldiers never die, they just fade away." President Finnegan, you have come to Longwood as an old soldier in terms of your years of proud service in the United States Army. But you have certainly not faded away. From the time you first stepped foot on our campus, you have energized our community. We are inspired by your deep commitment to scholarship and learning, your genuine concern for others, and your abiding belief in public service. On behalf of the 304 full and part-time faculty members of our talented members of our talented faculty, and we have lots of staff too, and Carrie will speak shortly. It is my privilege and honor to welcome you as our president. We wholeheartedly support you in your endeavors to enhance academics at Longwood, an institution that you have come to care about as deeply as we do.
President Finnegan, on behalf of the dedicated and extremely talented staff of Longwood University, we would like to welcome you. As you assume the Lancer reins, we pledge to you our support, commitment, and talents. The staff recognize the effort that you have put forward into being open and accessible, and we truly appreciate it. With your leadership, we look forward to advancing Longwood University as we become the university with the power to succeed.
As I prepared my remarks for the day, I kept asking myself, how do you welcome somebody who's already a part of the Lancer family? President Finnegan, you have participated in some of Longwood's most unique traditions: color wars, ooze ball, kai walks, midnight breakfast, rock the block, and the big event, and many more. All of these just add to what it means to be part of the Lancer family. You have truly shown what it means to be a Lancer by valuing honor and integrity, service to the whole, and giving back to your campus community. Today, we welcome you. But know that as you embark on this journey, you are not alone. We, the students, will walk beside you, for you are part of the Longwood family.
We are very pleased to have the senior senator from Rhode Island, Senator Jack Reed, as today's keynote speaker. His accomplishments and his distinguished career are detailed in your program. But the real reason that Jack Reed is here today is that he and Pat Finnegan have been friends for more than 40 years. They are not only West Point classmates, but they also attended Harvard's Kennedy School of Government together for the 2 years immediately following graduating from West Point. Jack, who was a bachelor at the time, was a frequent guest for Joan's spaghetti dinners. When the Finnegan's daughter, Katie, was born during their first year of graduate school, Jack was the first person, other than Pat, to visit Katie and Joan in the hospital. When graduate school was finished, the two lieutenants continued as classmates at Fort Benning, Georgia, first in the infantry officer basic course and then in airborne school. In the succeeding decades, the friendship between these two classmates has continued to strengthen and grow. Jack, who served as chair of West Point's Board of Visitors during the time that Pat was the dean, participated in the ceremony promoting Pat to brigadier general and in his retirement ceremony from the Army as well. It is very fitting that this soldier, lawyer, educator, and public servant be the keynote speaker for the inauguration of his close friend, Pat Finnegan. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me to welcome Senator Jack Reed.
Thank you very much, John. President Finnegan, Secretary of Education Fornash, distinguished members of the board, the faculty, and the staff, Presidents Cormier and Durrell, parents, friends, alumni, and especially the students of Longwood University. We assemble today to formally inaugurate Brigadier General Patrick Finnegan as the 25th President of Longwood University. I am honored to join you to salute a distinguished soldier, scholar, lawyer, and educator whose life has been dedicated to and defined by selfless service to our Army, our country, and now to Longwood University. He has been joined and sustained in this lifetime of service by Joan Finnegan and their wonderful family. Although today I am proud to call him Mr. President, my greatest privilege over the last 44 years has been to call him my friend. Perhaps what drew us together at West Point was the obvious fact that we were, unlike most of our classmates, men of normal height. Unconstrained by having to stoop or clamber aboard any type of armored equipment or helicopter, capable of stretching out to sleep anywhere, no Army pup tat was ever too small for us. Or perhaps it was because we are both Irish. And I am sure, had it not been for his fateful meeting with the lovely Joan Conway and the beginning of their lifelong love, he would, like me, have respected the traditional Irish custom of waiting until a suitable age to marry. 55, but I'm impetuous. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks the coming together of a great leader and a great institution of higher education at a moment in our history when we need more of both. Education has always been the great engine of opportunity in America, and America has always, at its noblest moments, been about opportunity for all of our people. Today, education, particularly higher education, is even more essential for individual advancement. In 1980, the gap between the lifetime earnings of a college graduate and a high school graduate was 40%. In 2010, it was 74%. By 2025, it is projected to be 96%. And since at least the 1980s, we have not been producing a sufficient number of college-educated workers to meet the demand of a more sophisticated and challenging economy driven by global competition. Indeed, what my generation took for granted, that America would always be far and away the leader in college education, is no longer the case. We rank 14th in international comparisons of college graduates. Indeed, for young adults between 25 and 34, we're 16th. And these are not simply arcane statistics. They translate into the experience of too many families caught up in a struggling economy and growing income inequality. In the forefront of the American response to this crisis must be and will be to reinvigorate our commitment to education and to recognize that what you do here at Longwood and at campuses across the land is a decisive factor in successfully facing the great challenge of our time. Our response and recognition must consist of more than rhetoric. We have to invest in supporting your efforts while together we search for effective and innovative ways to reach a wider number of Americans and enhance their education and skills so that once again, the engine of opportunity powers us forward. Now, this would be a daunting challenge at any time in our history, but these are no ordinary times. Our country, our economy, and our world are continually transformed through the complex interaction of technology and commerce and political and social forces. The pace of this change continues to accelerate. Dynamic and at times disruptive change is the constant of our age and of our future. Critical to this transformative process is higher education. It is the incubator of ideas that form the basis of technological advancement and social and cultural adaptation. And higher education is also the best source of knowledge and perspective that we need as individuals and as a nation to cope with change and its consequences. Higher education is driving change worldwide, obliterating borders and shrinking time and space. It is a powerful force that moves the world and transforms individuals and communities. Since its founding in 1839, Longwood University has played a vital role in preparing its students to meet not only immediate challenges, but also to prepare them as lifelong learners to anticipate, shape, and respond to the constant dynamic of change. Longwood began with a very special mission to prepare teachers. this mission continues. Indeed, it may be more important today than at any time. For when we speak of the increasing importance of advanced education to reward individual talent, build strong communities, and maintain our international leadership, we cannot forget that it rests on the quality of education beginning with preschool and extending through secondary education. All of us here, we're lucky to have good professors, but none of us would be here without the great teacher in grade school or high school that encouraged us, inspired us, and helped us to recognize our particular talents. So I want to particularly commend those of you on the faculty and staff who prepare classroom teachers, and especially the students at Longwood who are preparing for this important role. Since its founding, Longwood has developed a broader curriculum, embracing business and the arts, and recently establishing a nursing program. All of these programs are essential for our future. But Longwood is much more than the sum of its course offerings. It has embraced a special vision of the citizen leader. And here, in particular, is where the vision of this university and the vision of President Finnegan come together to create a powerful force that will propel this university forward for the benefit of so many. At the core of this vision of citizen leader is the recognition that we all must serve our community and our nation. We are sustained each day by the valor of our men and women in uniform, but their heroic service alone cannot ensure the success of our nation and the achievement of our ideals. We all must serve, defending our rights, but also shouldering our responsibilities, being an active part of our community, using our talent and ambition to get ahead, but not ignoring those who might be left behind. And at this moment, and in the years ahead, we must stay engaged in the sometimes discordant dialogue that is democracy, but always bringing to that dialogue a tone of respect for those who we may disagree with, and a severe, sincere commitment to our progress, not merely posturing. We are counting on the citizen leaders from Longwood and colleges across the nation to answer that call to serve and bring our nation closer to achieving our ideals. Patrick Finnegan is a preeminent citizen leader. For more than 3 decades, he devoted himself to selfless service to the nation as an Army officer. As Dean of the Academic Board at West Point, he was a superb educational leader. His vision, his collaboration, and his commitment reshaped West Point, expanding its international curriculum, enhancing its approach to chemical and nuclear engineering programs, and constantly adapting to changes in information technology, both as an academic subject and as a managerial tool. His work completed the Jefferson Library, honoring a great Virginian who in 1802 signed the legislation creating West Point. But more important than these remarkable achievements is the fact that Patrick Finnegan understands, through his experience, that talent, technology, and technique can never ultimately succeed if character and commitment fail. Like Longwood University, Pat Finnegan is about character and commitment. He is a man of decency and integrity who is committed to using his talents to help others develop their talents so that they can be the leaders of the future. Now, on this beautiful day, is a moment when a good man and a great leader assumes his responsibilities at a great university. It calls for something more than my mere prose. So let me recall the words of that great Irish poet, Seamus Heaney. Of course he's Irish. History says, don't hope on this side of the grave, but then, once in a lifetime, the longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up, and hope and history can rhyme. Ladies and gentlemen, today we can all sense under President Finnegan's leadership, that the men and women of Longwood University will help bring us closer to that day when hope and history truly rhyme. Thank you very much.
So it's now my pleasure to begin the formal installation of Patrick Finnegan. Patrick came to Longwood from the United States Military Academy at West Point, where he had served as dean of the academic board. During his time in this position, West Point was named by Forbes magazine the #1 college in the United States. Some years before, Pat had graduated from West Point, where as a cadet, he served as chair of the honor committee. After that, he earned a master's degree in public administration from the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University, then a Juris Doctor degree from the University of Virginia Law School. Pat's military uniform is something to behold. He's been awarded the Distinguished Service Medal, the Bronze Star, the Legion of Merit, the Army Commendation Medal, the Army Achievement Medal with 2 oak leaf clusters, the Humanitarian Service Medal, the Saudi Arabia Kuwait Liberation Medal, the Defense Meritorious Unit Award, and the Meritorious Service Award. And if I could say so, I think that his uniform may weigh more than Patrick Finnegan himself. Now, Pat has won over this campus with his warmth, his good humor, and his vision about the next big step that this university must take. With such a fine start to his journey as Longwood's president, we are convinced that the university will flourish as we continue down the road together for what we trust will be a very, very long time. And it is now my privilege and signal honor to administer the oath of office to Patrick Finnegan as the 25th president of Longwood University. Patrick Finnegan, the Board of Visitors has chosen you as president of Longwood University. Yours will be the great privilege and responsibility of leading Longwood University to the fulfillment of its great promise for years to come. So please repeat after me. I, Patrick Finnegan,
I, Patrick Finnegan,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully commit myself
that I will faithfully commit myself
to the mission of Longwood University,
to the mission of Longwood University,
that I will serve the Commonwealth of Virginia
that I will serve the Commonwealth of Virginia
with integrity, with vision, and with wisdom,
with integrity, with vision, and with wisdom,
and that I will uphold
and that I will uphold
the values and traditions of the university
the values and traditions of the university
and the laws of the Commonwealth
and the laws of the Commonwealth
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
I ask Dr. Ken Perkins, Interim VP for Academic Affairs, and Dr. James Jordan, Chief Faculty Marshal, to come forward to bestow upon you, Patrick Finnegan, the medallion signifying the office of President at Longwood University. By the authority vested in me by the Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia and the Longwood University Board of Visitors, I hereby declare you, Patrick Finnegan, 25th President of Longwood University. Ladies and gentlemen, I present our newly inaugurated president.
What a great day to be a Lancer. Glorious weather outside, new threads, and some serious bling. I have to tell you, we were a little concerned about having two men put jewelry on another man. But I think it worked out all right after 6 or 7 rehearsals. Well, good afternoon. I'd like to thank all of you, all of our guests, for joining us on this very special occasion, and particularly thank the entire Longwood family for its role in today's event and all the inaugural festivities. We have so much to be proud of in our past, and that's one reason I'm so delighted that Longwood's heritage is represented today by the class representatives who reach back through more than 70 years of our history. They and those that they represent have made their lasting mark in their communities. They are productive citizens who care about making the world a better place. They inspire us and point the way for the Lancers of today. I owe particular gratitude to Senator Jack Reed, my friend of more than 4 decades. There's a saying that a politician thinks of the next election, while a statesman thinks of the next generation. Today, we heard from a statesman. Thank you so much, Jack. Thank you, Secretary Fornash, for your attendance, your kind remarks, and even more for your support of Longwood University. A special thanks to Rector Marge Connolly and the members of our Board of Visitors for their guidance and support, for their unswerving support of Longwood University and me, as well to John Adams, our past rector. He not only agreed to serve as Master of Ceremonies today, but John has been an invaluable mentor and friend as I began this presidency. John's wife, Bunny, another wonderful friend and supporter, is here today representing her Longwood class. Our 2 former presidents, Dr. Bill Dorrell and Dr. Patty Cormier, honor us with their presence. They set a path that has been easy to follow. You brought many good things to Longwood, and we hope that you continue to find many good things in your lives today. There are several of my West Point classmates here, as well as many friends from our years at the Academy and through a career in the Armed Services. Those bonds are still very strong, and Joan and I are delighted that these friends are here as part of this celebration. I wish I had the time to mention them all individually, because each has played a part in my life that's led to this day. I do want to acknowledge a person who was the judge in my very first several courts-martial, who guided my development as a young military attorney, and who, while serving as the academic dean at the Army's Judge Advocate General School in Charlottesville, selected me to be his deputy, my first excursion into academic administration. He's been a steadfast guide, mentor, and friend for most of my professional life, Colonel Fran Gilligan, and I'm honored that he and his wife, Barb, are here today. Over the past several years, particularly as I've talked to graduating students at West Point and here, I've reminded them that no one gets through life on their own, that they need to thank those who've assisted them along the way. No one's more important in that regard than family, and there are several members of my family who are able to join us today. My sister, Rosaline Finnegan Shinsato, is attending in 2 capacities. She's here as my sister, of course, but she's also representing the Longwood class of 1976. It was through Rosie that I first learned of Longwood and the special friendships that are made here. Hers was the last class that had to wear beanies as freshmen. She has urged me to readopt that tradition. She also had the thought that it was probably a good thing that our class representatives were not asked to come in the attire that they wore to class when they were here. She wasn't sure she could find her old bell-bottom trousers. And while it's me here on the stage today, actually the most well-known member of the Finnegan family in Central Virginia is my brother Danny, who's the managing editor of the Richmond Times-Dispatch. We're hoping for favorable coverage today, Danny. Thank you for being here. I'd also like to acknowledge one particularly special member of my family who could not be here with us today, my mom. Many of you had the delight of meeting her in March a year ago when my selection as president was announced. She's not up to traveling at this time, but I know she's here in spirit, and she's told me that she's watching on the web, so hi, Mom. She and my dad, who passed away more than 20 years ago, have been wonderful parents and role models. They personify the term citizen leader. They gave me constant encouragement, shared with all of us the love of books and reading, and always provided a home filled with love and laughter. I've had many titles in my life, including military ranks all the way up to brigadier general, and dean, and now president. I'm proud of all those titles, but the titles most important to me are dad and granddaddy. It's the truth. Our daughter Katie and her husband John, a commander in the United States Navy, and don't ask me how we got a guy in the Navy in our family. John's a wonderful role model, citizen leader himself. He returned last year from a tour of duty in Iraq. He and Katie are here with their children, Alyssa and Jack. And our daughter Jenna and her husband Tim, an attorney with Williams Mullen in Richmond, are also with us, while their sons Patrick and Connor are enjoying the afternoon running around at Longwood House. I don't think they could put up with this many speeches. Katie and Jenna and their families continue to bring great joy to our lives, and I'm very proud of all of them. Of course, there's one additional person to thank, the most important one of all, and you've all heard some about her already. For those of you who've not yet met her, I want to introduce you to my wife, Joan. There's just no doubt that I could not be, would not be, where I am today if I had not met her and somehow persuaded her to marry me and then accompany me around the world. She's made a home for me and our children that was safe and bright and happy, no matter how small the house, how difficult the move, or how often I was away from home. I have to tell you that as we considered what to do after leaving the Army, Joan had 3 requests. First, she said that she'd like me to find a job where she didn't have to be as involved as she'd been as an Army wife. Second, after years of living in older sets of Army quarters, she wanted us to buy and live in a newly built home of our own. And third, she asked me to find a job that was sort of 9 to 5 and didn't involve many evenings or weekends. You can see how well I did on her wish list. But like all of our adventures in our 40 years together, she has embraced this new phase of our life with her characteristic enthusiasm and grace. She's transformed Longwood House into a place where students, staff, and faculty can gather to enjoy the tradition, the house, and each other's company. When friends from out of town ask her what she's doing, she tells them she's helping to paint the campus Longwood blue. Thanks, honey, for your steadfast support, love over the years, and for all that you do for Longwood. As you could probably tell from my opening thank yous that included a United States Senator and a senior military judge, my path to Longwood's presidency has not been a typical one. Although my dream was to be an attorney, when presented with the opportunity to attend the United States Military Academy, this then 17-year-old boy could not resist the nation's call. Looking back, I suppose that I was drawn to the chance to serve because of my admiration for my father's own Army career. But I never intended to stay in the Army for 32 years, as my dad had, because I still hoped to go to law school and become a lawyer. Instead, as fate would have it, I spent 39 years in uniform, frequently interspersing opportunities for education with field assignments in Army units. In fact, the Army afforded me the opportunity to go to graduate school immediately after finishing West Point. So Joan and I, newly married, headed to Boston, where I grew my hair out and suffered a failed attempt at growing a mustache. Several years and military assignments later, I was planning to leave the service to pursue becoming a lawyer, but the Army came up with a better idea. They sent me to law school instead. This time I got my geography right and went to the University of Virginia. I enjoyed all my assignments as a military lawyer and had some fascinating experiences along the way. I think there are few other college presidents who can claim to have spent significant time with special operations units jumping out of airplanes. I want to take a moment to digress to share a story about when the senator and I went to airborne school together. Because Jack and I had gone to graduate school, we were first lieutenants, senior in rank to a class made up almost exclusively of second lieutenants. On the first day of airborne training, we were standing next to each other in formation when someone behind us asked, "Who here is a first lieutenant?" While I was turning around to see who was asking, Jack raised his hand and was tapped to be the platoon leader. To our surprise, we learned that a major part of his responsibility was to do extra push-ups along with any member of the platoon who messed up. He may be the senior senator from Rhode Island, but to me, he'll always be my airborne platoon leader. And he can still do more push-ups than I can. Many years later, as I was approaching what I thought was my final assignment in the Army, Joan and I were delighted to return to the place we met and married, West Point, where I was assigned as the general counsel. I was making plans to retire and join a law firm when the Army again intervened and our plans changed. There was an ongoing search for the professor and head of the Department of Law at West Point. I had thoroughly enjoyed my time teaching at the Army's JAG School in Charlottesville, so I decided to compete and was selected for the position, which did not require me to retire at the normal 30-year service. 6 years later, I competed to be the academic dean and was again fortunate to be selected, sort of the accidental dean, nothing that I'd ever planned. Although I had greatly enjoyed the practice of law, I found during those years that education and teaching were my true passions. So when it did finally come time to retire, I decided that I wanted to stay in higher education and was delighted when I found out that Longwood University was looking for a new president. After 12 years at West Point and now almost 16 months at Longwood, I believe more than ever that educating our young people is the only way to ensure our freedom and our success as a nation. I believe that the wisest investment we can make is in education. The rate of return is world peace. So that brings us to today. I chose for the theme of my inauguration 3 elements essential to a good education: scholarship, service, and standards. And these elements will be the hallmark of my presidency. First, to scholarship. As has been mentioned, Longwood was founded as a teacher's college, and we're proud of that heritage. We still prepare and educate teachers who are routinely recognized as the best in the Commonwealth. Our daughter Katie's kindergarten teacher was a Longwood graduate. She was so good that Katie was disappointed when Saturdays rolled around and she couldn't go to school. Now that's the way to get a child started on the right foot. As many of you know, we're devising an academic strategic plan that will set the course for this school in the next decade. With input from constituencies across campus, this plan will guide the academic life of the university and will help us focus on what's best for future generations of Longwood students. While staying true to our history and our identity, we're also stepping forward to embrace new opportunities. I don't want to get ahead of the recommendations of that plan, but I do want to give you my sense of where, as an institution, we might go. My years in the Army have convinced me of the need to prepare our students to participate in a global economy and society. I will strive to find the resources to increase international opportunities for our students and for our faculty. Our faculty members need to be able to share their expertise with people in other countries, while also enriching their classes and their research with what they have learned. Through faculty exchanges, we can create ways for international scholars to share their perspectives with us. It's essential that our students gain experience interacting with people from other cultures and come to appreciate diverse perspectives and viewpoints. We can do that, we will do that by sending our students abroad while also bringing international students here to learn and to contribute to our campus and our community. In addition to expanding international opportunities, I also want to push the boundaries of our internship requirement. We're the only public university in the state to require all students to complete an internship as part of their general education curriculum. But let's think of that internship not just as a box to check off, but as a true out-of-the-classroom experience. Whether it's a science lab on campus, an elementary classroom in Prince Edward County, a boardroom in New York City, an opera house in Santa Fe, the Grand Tetons of Yellowstone National Park, or the desert in Mali, these out-of-classroom experiences can create ways for our students to put scholarship into practice. Second, to service. Service to others presents our students with additional opportunities to apply the knowledge they learn. Time and again, I've seen our students commit themselves to helping others. From the Relay for Life to the big event, from Wounded Warrior Weekend to organizing a 5K run that benefited a young local boy in need. Longwood students understand the value and satisfaction that comes through service. But service doesn't just stop with our students. Our faculty, our staff set wonderful examples every day of what it means to serve, both here at Longwood and in our broader community. For instance, the Longwood Center for Communication, Literacy, and Learning, the brainchild of faculty in the College of Education and Human Services, was established in 2006. Located at the corner of Main and 3rd Streets in downtown Farmville, the Interdisciplinary Center provides tutoring, speech, and language services to adults and children. Our students in the graduate program in Communication Sciences and Disorders apply their academic knowledge and acquire vital practical training through the center. And directly across the street from that center is the Longwood Center for the Visual Arts, now nationally accredited by the American Association of Museums. Nationwide, only 4.5% of art museums are accredited, and only 54 university art museums hold such a distinction. In addition to serving the campus community through exhibitions and its Art on Campus program, the staff of the LCVA provide tours and educational programs for thousands of school children across Southern Virginia. 3 Longwood alumni serve on the LCVA staff, and hundreds of Longwood students volunteer at the museum each year. These are just two examples of the many of how we here at Longwood combine scholarship and service to meet the needs of and to enhance the life of our community. In the upcoming months and years, we will do everything we can to promote Longwood as a regional economic engine for Southside Virginia. We can do much to enhance our region's business, industry, environment, energy sources, healthcare, education, and the arts and cultural life. We here at Longwood are committed to serving this community and our Commonwealth. And finally, to standards. Character and values are what distinguish our graduates as citizen leaders. These standards are exemplified in the College of Business and Economics through its SNVC Leadership Institute. The habits learned through the Institute lay a foundation for our faculty, staff, students, and community members to act with integrity and purpose in their leadership roles. I've mentioned in the past that one of the reasons I was initially attracted to Longwood was the Honor Code, now celebrating its 101st year. As I walked into Greenwood Library for the first time, I was met with that honor creed engraved on the wall. We shall not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate those who do. Longwood's creed is virtually identical to the Cadet Honor Code at West Point and reflects my own personal values. I do believe that the best education instills values as well as knowledge, and I'm very proud of how we do that here. As your leader, I believe that honesty and transparency comprise the glue that holds an institution together. That bond will enable us to work together and move forward with confidence and success. I pledge that as your president, I will act with openness and candor, knowing that honesty will serve us best. We must teach and practice service above self and civility toward others. Most important, I want to invest in Longwood's greatest asset, our people. Every day, I see examples of how the faculty and staff positively influence the lives of our students. I appreciate your commitment to scholarship, service, and standards. Because of you, we have a strong sense of community on this campus, what we often call the Longwood family. I pledge today that I will do all in my power to see that our faculty and staff members are compensated at the levels that they deserve, for the future success of our students and our university depends on them. With the strength and common sense I've gained from life, with the confidence that my family, friends, and dedicated faculty and staff have imparted to me, and with the goodwill shared with me by our students, I reaffirm the promise that I made 16 months ago to uphold the high standards of the university, to promote excellence in scholarship, to choose the harder right over the easier wrong, and to forge new ties of friendship and new opportunities of service. I will do the very best I can for Longwood, because as of today, not only you, but I am a Lancer forever. Thank you all very much.
And so it begins again, as it has at 24 other moments in our 172-year history. A new leader is chosen and is invested not just with this office, but with our dearest dreams for Longwood University. We have invested well. Now, let me invite the Camerata Singers to lead us in the singing of the alma mater. As they begin, you can rise from your musical seats. And the words are printed on the back of your program, so please join in. Following the singing, please remain at your seats for the retiring of the colors and the recessional. And then immediately after that, please join us for dessert reception on the front lawn of Lancaster Hall.
You may retire the colors.